Good morning, traders, and welcome to NewsWares Trade Talk for Tuesday, December 2nd. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps. We're up 0.24% this morning. You know, we've been in the green all morning long. This is kind of positive. And really what's happening here is we got a couple of tech reports, earnings reports last night after the close. Very positive, very strong. That's causing tech to rally. We're seeing some strong gains in tech this morning, which is very positive to see. You know, also in the tech, Sam Altman apparently sent a letter to the OpenAI employees. He called it Code Red, telling employees to really prioritize improving ChatGPT. You know, because rivals like Google, their Gemini product, are really making advances and taking market share. Now, I will have to point out, OpenAI is scheduled to to release a new revision next week. Of course, they say it's going to be better than Gemini 3, but we'll have to wait and see until we see those cards. Well, you know, this is until that time, it's just talk. But you know, if it turns out to be stronger, you could see another rally in Microsoft above the 500 level. What else do we have happening? Oh, Amazon. Amazon has a cloud conference that starts today. That could be something. President Trump, he's going to be making an announcement today around 2 p.m. You know, he's got a cabinet meeting, so expect an announcement at 2 p.m. Focus could be on healthcare. We'll have to wait and see. Vaccine stocks, they're in focus, though, today as advisors to RFK Jr. are looking to make changes to the childhood vaccine schedules. Could be something there. Retail stocks, hey, they're gaining. You know, listen, you know, they're coming. You saw Walmart came out, strong sales, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, sales events, very, very good. What else we have on the earnings front? CRDO and MDB, they're both positive after strong earnings releases last night. After the bell today, we got some good earnings coming out. We got CrowdStrike, we got Marvell Technologies, we got Pure Storage, PSTG, and OKTA, all scheduled to announce after the bell today. Okay, let's take a look overseas, and let's take a look at the action over in Europe. And, you know, I'm looking at the DAX. The DAX is up 0.46%. It's pulled back a little bit. I mean, it was up 0.76%. Now it's up 0.47%. You know, the peace talks are remaining to be a key factor for German equities. They're ongoing. They haven't really started yet, but Trump's envoy is scheduled to be in Russia this week for talks, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. In London, the FTSE, hey, the FTSE's up 0.22% without performance in mining stocks, and in Paris and France, the CAC. It's higher by 0.22%. You know, the consumer price inflation in the Eurozone came in at 2.1%, which was slightly higher than expectations. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't want to call it directionless, but it's really looking for, the European markets are really looking for a stronger catalyst to move higher. They are positive, so that's good to see. And, you know, there could be some stronger gains later this month. We'll just have to kind of hold our breath and wait for that catalyst to appear. Okay, now we're talking about Asia, and we're looking at the Nikkei. The Nikkei was flat. I mean, it was up 0.17. You know, that's 0.00, maybe 1%. You know, it's about the BOJ. I mean, that continues to be the main driver of the market's action, and you know they're focused on a possible rate hike later this month at the BOJ meeting. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng finished higher by 0.24%. You saw gains in consumer stocks. China, the Shanghai actually fell 0.42%. You had some weakness in financials and mining stocks, which is kind of surprising. And, you know, the Japan and China situation continues to be contentious, I'll call it. You know, watch for China to do some, you know, economic issues to kind of, you know, bring in Japan, because remember the Prime Minister of Japan said, "Hey, we got to prepare for, you know, difficult times ahead if China invades Taiwan." So we're keeping an eye on that situation as well. Okay, now we're turning our attention over to oil, and oil is trading lower. Oil had a big, strong day yesterday, but this morning you got WTI at $59.19 a barrel. You got Brent at $62.99 a barrel. Focus is on this week's peace talks. You know, Ukraine did attack some Russian ports over the weekend, which caused you know, some pipelines to halt operations. But the amount of oil that trades through is like 1% of the global use, so it's not too significant. But after the bell today, you get the API inventory estimates. They're due out, so that could be something. That's something to keep an eye on in terms of oil. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about the earnings actions. And we're going to start off with what happened today, this morning. United Foods International, that's ticker UNFI, stocks trading higher by 4.92% as they delivered a beat of 16 cents on higher revenue. And then Signet Jewelers, SIG, Sam India Grace, they're down by 3.87%, although they beat by 34 cents on higher revenue. Their guidance was kind of an issue there. Okay, upcoming, after the bell, we got a number of earnings coming out. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, the big one really is CrowdStrike. Their EPS is 7 cents. Expected move is 7.38%. Marvell Technologies, their EPS is 58 cents. Expected move is 11.34%. Pure Storage, their EPS is 25 cents. Expected move is 14.06%. So, yeah, a lot of earnings coming out after the bell today. Okay, now we're moving on, and we're talking about economic reports today. It is kind of light, in terms of the economic front. The only real report coming out today is the API oil stockpiles report at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Fed Governor Michelle Baumann, she's going to be speaking today, but she's not going to comment on monetary policy. Jerome Powell spoke last night at Stanford, and he didn't touch on monetary policy at all. Instead, it was kind of a presentation about George Shultz, the former Secretary of State. Kevin Hassett, he's widely expected to become President Trump's next pick for Federal Reserve Chair. Hey, he brings two things. He brings credibility. He was on the Fed board before. And two, he's shown a lot of loyalty to Donald Trump, and that's what Trump wants in his next Fed chair. He wants someone that's loyal, number one. ISM manufacturing data came out yesterday. It contracted. It was down 0.5 points from October. So that was kind of weak. Tomorrow we get the ISM services numbers coming out. Okay, let's take a look at this morning's action. Let's take a look at what we see happening in the markets this morning. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. Got 9 lower, 2 unchanged. The rest higher, so that's positive. My FANG stocks are all showing gains, with the exception of Apple, which is down about 0.1%, nothing significant. But you look at the news behind the tape, like Apple, they came out and they said that they are not going to comply with India over in order to preload their iPhones with state-run cybersecurity apps. They said, no, we won't do that. That's an issue. They're willing to take that on. Now, remember, India is a big manufacturer of the iPhones. India really can't force them to do this. India's probably going to capitulate here. Amazon, they're talking about launching delivery services to compete with Instacart. They want to do delivery services for groceries in under 30 minutes. They're starting some test runs in cities like Seattle, but they think they can do this. So keep an eye on this. It could really hurt Instacart, C-A-R-T. What else we got? Google OpenAI is going to be releasing a new version of ChatGPT next week, taking on Google's Gemini 3. I don't know if it'll surpass it. We'll have to wait and see. Netflix. I mean, Netflix is no longer supporting casting shows from a multiple device to most TVs and TV streaming services. But, they placed an almost all-cash bid out for that Peace Guy. So, that news hit the tape. That could actually be something there. They may actually win that deal. That's interesting to me. Okay, we're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks, and we're talking, this one's Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Moderna, a lot of the vaccine makers out there. Vaccine committees considering changes to childhood vaccination schedules. Walmart delivers 57% more orders from stores on Black Friday. Nice. Chevron, ticker CVS. Bank of America removes Chevron from its U.S. #1 focus list. I'm talking merger news, EB, Elvis Boy. This is Eventbrite. Bending Spoons is going to require Eventbrite for $500 million. This is an all-cash deal at $4.50 a share. In terms of guidance, United Foods, UNFI, they back their full year 2026 adjusted EPS view of $1.50 to $2.30. Street estimate's $2. So, okay. But Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, they see Q4 revenue coming in $2.24 billion to $2.37 billion, while the street estimate is $2.38. That's a downtick. That's why the stock is showing weakness this morning. Okay. We got that AWS Cloud Conference going on today. Keynote speech by AWS CEO Matt Garman. That's scheduled for 11 a.m. That's going to be the time when Amazon could start to show some weakness today. But it is positive this morning. Stock's up 0.89% already in the pre-market. Okay, let's get to our pick of the day, and it's Boxing, ticker BOX. Boy, Oscar X-ray. Earnings are out this afternoon. EPS is 5 cents. Expected move is 10.49%. You look at yesterday's call volume, all positive. 1,432 calls versus 670 puts. That's more than 2 to 1. I like that. Open interest, 33,000 to 22,000. Very positive. I like that. Major brokers, they're raising price targets. The big ones that are monitoring it. So that's a positive factor. They have a very good business. It's very steady, and I do like that. So yeah, I like Box today, ticker BOX. But I got to get in at my price tag, and it's going to be a positive open, and it looks like I don't want Box to get away from me, but I also don't want to pay up for it. I mean, I'm thinking $29.50, somewhere between $29.30 and $29.60. That's kind of my entry price. So I'll say $29.45 is my entry price for BOX this morning. And that's my pick of the day. Okay, let's move on to the hot news hitting the markets this morning. Let's see what we get. See if we got anything hot happening here this morning. United Airlines and Travelport partner to innovate airline retailing. That could be something. Those airlines are still kind of weak due to the grounding of those Airbus planes. Major brokers raise the price target on Eli Lilly with weight drugs. That's been the key catalyst. Oh, Costco, COST, they're joining the lawsuits. So, from a bunch of small businesses against the Trump administration over tariffs. Oh, wow. And, they're suing basically, and they want to get the money that they spent on the tariffs back. I would only think that they'd be doing this if they really felt that the Supreme Court is going to find those tariffs illegal, which does appear likely. A decision could happen on those IEEPA tariffs by the end of the year. Exxon is in talks with Iraq about buying Luke Oil stake in giant West Quorum 2 oil fields. Bristol-Myers must face a $6.7 billion lawsuit over delayed cancer drug, according to a U.S. judge. Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD, they get a mostly cash offer from Netflix, according to some sources out there. They want $30 a share, WBD. See if they get it. All right, that's all I got going on today, hitting the tape this morning. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about, yesterday's pick of the day, which was Pure Storage. That's ticker PSTG, Paul, Sam, Tom, Grace. Listen, it was a wild ride because you remember how yesterday how tech was selling off hard. Well, we went with tech, but we had the confidence to say, listen, this is an earnings play. It's not just a tech play. And Pure Storage, looks positive going into earnings, so that's kind of nice. But you look at the stock; it opened up at 87.65, and it fell to 85.52 before rebounding. I mean, the stock closed at 88.55, but in the pre-market yesterday, it was trading in the post-market yesterday, the stock was trading $90.11. So, you got to be positive on that. And then, this morning you look at the stock and it's still holding that gains. I mean, $89.90 to $90.30. So yeah, it beat the 1%, even with that weak opening, which blew past my entry price. But if you held on to it, PSTG was a winner yesterday. Paul, Sam, Tom, great. So happy. That was a good thing. All right, listen, that then concludes Trade Talk for today. Guys, you know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.